What happens when a man standing in a courtroom admits his mistakes, accepts responsibility, and asks for one final chance? Would you trust him? Would a judge trust him? Because in this Ohio courtroom, one decision was about to change everything. A prison sentence, a mental health diagnosis, a family waiting outside, and a judge who remembered every word from sentencing day. But what happened next, nobody in that courtroom was expecting.
This is case number 25CR42737, the State of Ohio versus Eric Cox. Mr. Cox is before the court with his counsel, Mr. Perry, Ms. Tranter, on behalf of the State of Ohio. We are here on the defendant's motion for judicial release. Does the state have a position?
No, Your Honor, we'll defer.
Anything from probation?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Perry, you wish to be heard.
Judge, we would submit on our previously filed pleadings and prior arguments.
All right. Mr. Cox, is there anything you want me to know?
Just that I'm sorry. I'm very sorry that I'm here for my behavior that led to this. I'm grateful for the opportunity to come back and for you to consider the motion of judicial release. I just want you to know that I am super determined to never let anything like this happen again. I don't want to let my mom down. I don't want to let my fiance down. I've got a business on the line. Like, this has been a nightmare. I've learned from it a lot, and I've learned a lot about myself. I guess one good thing is the diagnosis of bipolar to describe and explain what's been unexplainable. I take that very serious in being compliant with my medication and just making sure that I have a stable platform where I can work a program of recovery, where I can make my faith a priority, where I can live a productive, good life and not have to put myself in a situation like this again or others in harm. That's it, Your Honor.
Okay.
And then, the courtroom became very quiet. No excuses, no blaming anyone else. Just 3 simple words. I'm sorry. Sometimes, those words carry more weight than an entire legal argument. Do you think genuine remorse matters in court? He wasn't arguing the facts. He wasn't challenging the outcome. Instead, he accepted responsibility. And honestly, that isn't something judges hear every day.
All right, Mr. Cox, I do remember vividly when I sentenced you, and I did tell you that I would consider judicial release. So at this time, I'm going to honor that and indicate that I'm going to suspend further execution of the prison sentence and grant your motion, place you into community control for a period of 3 years. Now, you'll be subject to the supervision of the Warren County Probation Department. You're ordered to refrain from the use of any drugs, alcohol, or marijuana. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I'm going to order an updated assessment because the assessment that we have is back in November of 2025. Since you've been, hopefully, been abstinent over the past 6 months.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'll assume that you have.
I have.
I'm going to update the assessment, including that mental health component. You are ordered to comply with that, any recommendations from that assessment. You'll be placed on a TAD monitor when you are released from the jail. You're not going to get released today. I apologize, folks, but I want to get this assessment completed because it'll be done fairly quickly, a day or so. Okay, is that right, Officer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. As previously, would you give me an updated jail and prison time credit for me?
Prison time credit is 170 days. Jail time credit is 13.
All right, so sounding about right? Who's counting, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll update those for your record. Remember, your operator's license is currently suspended for your lifetime, so you have no driving privileges. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. There was previously a mandatory fine of $1,350, which I do not have the authority to waive, so that, again, will have to be paid to the Bureau, to the court. Let's see. I'm also going to place you on a TAD monitor. It is an alcohol monitor, and I'm going to leave that. Did you say, Abby, you were?
He would go to Officer Sukavecki.
Sukavecki. So I'm leaving that to her discretion for how long that stays on. Generally, once she gets settled in and she can see that you're engaging in treatment, I will leave that to her discretion, okay? Ms. Tranter, is there anything else I left out?
No, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Perry?
Nothing, Judge. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Cox, let's get this right, okay, sir? Okay, thank you. Good luck to you.
Then the hearing became personal, very personal. He talked about his mother, his fiancée, his business, his future. Suddenly, this wasn't just another criminal case. This was a man describing everything he could lose. What would motivate you to change your life? A short sentence, but one filled with emotion, because prison doesn't just punish, it forces people to confront themselves, and that's exactly what Eric claimed had happened. Some people leave prison angry, others leave transformed. Then came a moment that changed the tone of the hearing. Eric revealed that he had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. A diagnosis, he said, finally explained behavior that once made no sense. But here's the important part. The judge wasn't evaluating the diagnosis itself. The focus was whether Eric would follow treatment and remain compliant. Mental health explanations can provide context, but accountability still matters. He promised medication compliance, recovery, faith, structure, responsibility. The question now was simple. Would the judge believe him? And with that, the judge delivered one final message. Not punishment, not anger, just a reminder. A reminder that second chances are rare, and wasting one can change everything. This may have been the most important sentence of the entire hearing. What makes this hearing interesting isn't the legal complexity, it's the human element. A defendant accepted responsibility, a judge remembered his earlier promise, and the court decided rehabilitation deserved a chance. Whether Eric succeeds or fails, only time will tell. But on this day, the court chose hope over continued incarceration. What do you think? Did the judge make the right decision? Should courts focus more on rehabilitation or punishment? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoy real courtroom breakdowns, legal analysis, and dramatic case reviews, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the next courtroom story might be even more unbelievable.